So let's jump right in. We got a ton of articles about Microsoft this week.
Yeah.
It seems like you're all really interested in their earnings report.
Definitely a lot of buzz around this one.
Yeah, it's Q2 2025, which drops tomorrow, January 29th.
Big day.
And everyone is watching to see if this huge bet they've made on AI is starting to pay off.
Yeah, what's fascinating is how Microsoft is trying to position themselves as like the OA leader in the AI space, right?
Yeah.
It's a bold move for sure, especially since their stock has dipped lately, you know?
Right.
This earnings report is a chance for them to really prove the doubters wrong.
Yeah, they've poured billions with a B, dollars into AI.
It's a staggering amount.
So what does that actually look like? What's their vision for AI?
Well, it seems like they're not just building like these standalone AI products, right? They're kind of weaving AI into everything they do.
Oh,
It's almost like they want AI to be the engine, not the car itself, if that makes sense.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, so less about, flashy self-driving cars and more about AI working behind the scenes
Yeah.
to make everything we already use smarter and more powerful.
Exactly. And honestly, that could be a really smart strategy. By integrating AI into their existing products, like their cloud platform, Azure, they can make AI way more accessible to businesses and just everyday users.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But before we get too deep into the AI weeds,
Okay.
let's take a step back and look at, the financial landscape.
Sure.
What are analysts actually expecting from Microsoft this quarter?
Well, the general consensus is that revenue will probably land around $68.9 billion, which is an 11% jump compared to last year.
Wow.
Pretty impressive. But earnings per share are projected to be about $3.13.
Okay.
Which is decent year over year, but it is slightly down from the previous quarter.
Interesting. So continued growth, but maybe a hint of a slowdown?
Could be.
That makes me wonder how much of their spending is going towards AI research and development.
Right.
I mean, those data centers can't be cheap to run.
No, they're not. And you're right. Those capital expenditures, which is essentially the money they're spending on things like buildings and equipment, have definitely been a topic of discussion amongst investors.
I bet.
Some are concerned that these huge investments are impacting profitability in the short term.
Right. And that concern is probably reflected in their stock price, right?
Yeah.
It's taken a bit of a hit recently, hasn't it?
It has. Microsoft's stock is currently trading around $444, which is about 8% below its peak back in July 2024. So this earnings report needs to reassure investors that these AI investments are laying the groundwork for future growth.
Right.
And that they have a solid plan for turning those investments into actual profit.
Okay, so for the average person out there, why should they even care about Microsoft's AI ambitions?
Good question.
What's the potential impact on their daily lives?
Well, imagine a future where AI is just seamlessly integrated into your everyday tasks.
Okay.
Making your life easier and more efficient.
Right.
So think AI helping you write emails, schedule meetings, analyze data, all that kind of stuff.
All right.
That's the kind of future Microsoft is aiming for.
Okay. That's starting to paint a clearer picture.
Yeah.
But it's not just about convenience, right?
Right.
There are bigger implications here.
Absolutely.
We're talking about a potential shift in how we work, learn, and interact with the world.
Huge implications.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what makes this whole deep dive into Microsoft's earnings so compelling.
Right.
It's not just about one company's financial performance. It's about understanding a technology that could fundamentally reshape our lives.
So it sounds like Microsoft is at a crossroads.
Yeah, I'd say so.
They're betting big on AI, and the world is watching to see if they can pull it off.
For sure.
But what does pulling it off actually look like? How do they measure success, and what are the potential pitfalls?
Great questions.
Let's
dig into that.
dig into that after a quick word from our sponsors.
Don't go away.
We'll be right back. We're back, and before the break, we were talking about Microsoft's mission to make AI like a core part of our lives.
Right.
But with so much riding on this AI strategy, what signs should investors be looking for in tomorrow's earnings report?
Well, I think investors are going to be laser focused on Azure,
Okay.
Microsoft's cloud platform. They'll want to see hard numbers that show that their AI integrations are attracting new customers and generating revenue.
So it's not enough for Microsoft to just talk about their grand AI vision.
Yeah,
They need to show that it's actually translating into tangible results.
exactly. Results matter.
So what kind of metrics should we be paying attention to?
Well, you want to look at things like growth in AI-powered services within Azure, the number of customers that are adopting those services, and of course, how much those customers are actually spending.
Right.
These are all indicators of whether their strategy is resonating in the market.
Gotcha. And what about those capital expenditures, those huge investments we were talking about before? How can investors get a sense of whether those are being managed effectively?
Well, the earnings report will probably provide a breakdown of their spending, show how much they're investing in different areas.
Okay.
And what analysts will be looking for are signs that those investments are strategic and that they align with their long-term AI goals.
So it's not just about the amount of money they're pouring into AI. It's about how wisely they're allocating those resources.
Exactly. It's about building the right foundation for future growth.
But Microsoft isn't operating in a vacuum. They've got some serious competition in the AI space, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. You got Google, Amazon, Meta, all making their own massive plays in AI. It's like an AI arms race out there.
Yeah.
With each company trying to, kind of grab that dominant position.
So it's not just about having the best technology. It's about attracting the top talent, building the right partnerships, and ultimately winning over customers.
Absolutely. And to make things even more complicated, you got the whole issue of regulation.
Oh.
Governments around the world are trying to figure out how to regulate AI. And that's something Microsoft has to navigate carefully.
Yeah, that's a really important point. I mean, imagine investing billions into a technology only to have it, completely stifled by regulations later on.
It would be a nightmare.
That would be a disaster.
Yeah, and Microsoft seems to be taking this pretty seriously. They've been publicly advocating for responsible AI development and working with policymakers to help shape those regulations.
So it sounds like this earnings report isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet.
No.
It's really a window into how Microsoft is managing this complex interplay of innovation, competition, and regulation.
It really is. It's like a high-stakes game of chess, and the future of AI is hanging in the balance.
It's a fascinating story, and tomorrow's report will be a crucial chapter.
For sure.
But beyond all the business stuff, there's a bigger picture here.
Absolutely.
The potential impact of AI on society is huge. We've been focused on the business side of things.
Right.
But AI has the potential to touch every part of our lives, from how we work and learn to how we interact with each other and the world around us.
It could even change how we consume information.
Exactly.
How we listen to podcasts like this one.
Right.
That's a deep dive for another day. But you raise a really important point.
Yeah.
As AI becomes more ingrained in our lives, we all have a stake in understanding its potential benefits and also the risks.
So Microsoft's Q2 earnings report isn't just about their bottom line.
No.
It's really a glimpse into a future where AI could completely reshape the world as we know it.
It is, and that's what makes this conversation so important. It's about connecting the dots, seeing the bigger picture, and having a thoughtful discussion about the future we're creating together.
Well said. So we've covered a lot of ground today, from earnings expectations to the competitive landscape to the broader implications of AI.
We have.
But there's one question that's still kind of nagging at me. We've talked about how Microsoft wants to be the AI leader, right? But what does that actually mean? What's their unique vision for AI?
Yeah.
And how does it differ from their competitors? I think that's a really important question, and maybe we can unpack that after a quick message.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so we're back. And, we keep talking about how Microsoft wants to be the AI leader.
Right.
But what does that actually even mean in practice? What sets their approach apart from, let's say, Google or Amazon?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. And honestly, I think even Microsoft is still figuring out all the details, Yeah. But what we've seen so far suggests they're really laser-focused on integrating AI deeply into their existing products and platforms.
Okay.
Rather than, creating a bunch of entirely separate AI tools.
So instead of building a standalone AI empire, they're making AI this almost invisible force behind everything they're doing.
Exactly. It's like they're weaving AI into the very fabric of their offerings.
I see. So give me an example.
Sure. Take Azure, for example. They're not just adding AI features as an afterthought, you know? They're baking AI capabilities right into the core of how Azure works. So it's becoming an AI-powered platform from the ground up.
That's a really interesting distinction.
Yeah, and I think it makes AI more accessible and user-friendly for businesses that might not have the expertise to build their own AI solutions from scratch.
Okay, so think about a small business owner who wants to use AI to predict customer trends or something.
Exactly. Microsoft's approach could empower them to do that without needing a whole team of data scientists.
That makes sense, but I'm wondering, could this focus on integration also have some downsides?
Potentially, yeah.
Could it limit Microsoft's ability to compete in, these highly specialized AI niches?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a risk that they could sacrifice some level of specialization for broader appeal.
Yeah.
So if a company needs a really cutting-edge AI solution for a very specific industry, Microsoft's more general-purpose approach might not be the best fit.
So they might be a jack of all trades, but master of none in certain areas.
Maybe, but it's important to remember that Microsoft isn't just relying on internal development either.
Right.
They're also making these strategic acquisitions and partnerships in the AI space.
Oh, right. So they're buying companies with specific AI expertise.
Exactly, and teaming up with others to fill gaps in their own offerings.
So they're playing the field on multiple levels.
They are.
Building from within, acquiring expertise, forging alliances.
Yeah, I think they're acknowledging that, the AI landscape is still evolving,
Right.
and there's no single guaranteed path to success.
Makes you wonder what the tech landscape will even look like 5 or 10 years down the line.
I know, right?
Like if Microsoft's strategy pays off, will we be interacting with AI constantly without even realizing it?
It's a fascinating question to think about,
Yeah.
If Microsoft succeeds in making AI truly ubiquitous,
Hmm.
it could have a massive impact on how we work, communicate, learn,
Right.
even think the possibilities are pretty exciting.
A little daunting, too.
Yeah, for sure. But I think this really drives home the point that, this deep dive into Microsoft's earnings, it's about so much more than just their financial performance.
Right. It's about these big forces that are shaping the future and what it means for all of us.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So we've covered a lot today. Earnings expectations, competitive landscape, the implications of AI.
Yeah, it's been a great discussion.
But ultimately, it's about empowering you, the listener, to be informed and engaged in shaping that future.
Absolutely.
But to sum it all up, Microsoft is standing at the edge of a potential AI revolution.
Yeah.
They're pouring resources into their vision. And tomorrow's earnings report will give us a glimpse into how it's all going.
Looking forward to it.
But beyond the numbers, this is really a story about ambition and innovation and the power of technology to change the world.
It's a story that's still being written, and we'll all be watching to see what happens next.
And as always, we encourage you to stay curious, keep exploring, and never stop asking those big questions.
Couldn't agree more.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
See you next time.